Hello and welcome to another episode of the Thick Accent podcast, where our accents may be a bit too thick this time. We have the Unicorn Special, aka the HMT for Flavor Special, with Yoritomo Alex,
Hey.
Dirtydeeds, and
Hey,
Balaviaris.
Hello.
They're all players who have at least some achievements to their name. Balaviaris was the unicorn with the most points last year and got an invite to Worlds. Dirtydeeds is representative of the Swedish team for 2 years in a row and as far as I know has also top cutted 2 or 3 cotes, right?
two top fives.
Yes. And Yoritomo Alex, probably not well known to most of you, but he is acknowledged at least as the best unicorn in Athens, and he's also like the man who trained me to play unicorn for this World Cup. So I have him to thank for playing the list and getting decent with the deck, barely. And we are about to look at the different HMT flavors each one of us is currently running and see some new alternatives to the fucking boring Dragons plus 3 Let's Go 3 Mirmoto Fury thing. I mean, come on, we are too good to be running that.
Yeah, I have never touched a driving card ever.
Same here.
Yes,
I
I hate it as well.
Nice. Everyone hates it. It's not just me.
Not exactly, but okay.
Perfect. So starting off, uh, Oscar's deck from the World Cup. It's actually extremely interesting. Moto stables with a lot of move for the extra military buffs. It can maybe even contest with Crab. How about you? You talk us through it, Oscar?
Yeah, okay. So, movement has always been like why I play Unicorn, even though it's a terrible mechanic. Well, it kind of goes theme to theme with Unicorn being a terrible clan, but that's off the point. I made a deck when Diversionary Maneuvers was released, along with Driven by Courage. So I wanted to try to make movement a thing. So I jammed every movement card into a deck, and then I removed most of them because they're bad, and this is what I ended up with. So as you see, there are no diversionary maneuvers in this deck, unfortunately. So yeah, the deck kind of runs like a semi-tower. A tower up a 3-coster or 2-coster. In a 3 or 4-coster in Tetsuko or Kiora. And then I run a bunch of 2-costers around that to support with take-up commands, moto stables, yeah, stuff like that. That's pretty much the deck. And Seeker only because I've never played Seeker and I wanted to try it. And also Smuggler's Cove is movement, so sure.
Let, let me do a comment here. Yes, the movement idea, at the moment it is the worst idea that gives us as a mechanic, Unicorn. But this deck has the clever mechanics to move and do something. Okay, like take a command, you will move the personality and straighten it. Smuggler's Cove also. Uh, Now, yes, maneuver is something that I would like to test it with this deck uh, because it's a free movement. It also will help with bow other players' personalities and your movement with mod stables and get and military stuff to break. Also, I don't know about our duel person.
You mean
what?
the challenge on the fields?
Yes. No, the personality, the honest challenger.
Ah,
Oh yeah, that I think I had that in the deck before. But I kind of removed all the. It was also a Golden Plains Outpost actually. It kind of I removed all the movement that I didn't need, and I have been like shaving off movement pieces until I found like now I have just enough, and then I put in the good cards as well to go with that. So Honest Challenge became like Gunso, and Outrider became Kiora. Kiora is amazing in this deck with take up command and stuff.
yeah, it makes sense. Uh, I could see it also trying to be a bit more aggressive, less towerish. I like the Hige Sermon, the waved open hand, stay your hand. Challenge on the fields in this deck is also really good. Maybe the
Yeah,
one of Cavalry Reserve seems weird, but if you spend Fate on towering, then it makes perfect sense.
yeah. I did play more Cavalry Reserves, but I think one is fine, and it's also good in an open list environment where it's always a threat.
Yeah, they also keep
Uh,
the cancels always for the reserves, right?
yeah, of course. And a comment on being aggressive. I think I actually play this deck more mid-rangey. I like defend 2 or 3 provinces every game actually because I have so much ready. I can afford to make my opponent waste cards like Driven My Courage, for example. I put in a Board Rider and then Driven My Courage on that, and so then the opponent has to like play a bunch of cards to get through that. Then I just ready and go for a break. So
True.
it plays kind of a resource game.
How about In Service to My Lord? Have you tried that?
Yeah, I did have In Service to My Lord, but then I found Logistics, and that is a Mimi card, and I wanted that instead.
Yes, I saw the two influence there.
I used to play Field of Ruin in this deck as well, and that's a battlefield, and that's how I told myself, yeah, I can play Logistics totally. It's a totally good card, or so. But I have Shiotome Encampment for battlefield, so it kind of has synergy.
That's
With
actually
the
super interesting. I haven't thought of that. Encampment being a battlefield, I mean.
Yeah, Shiotome Encampment is a battlefield.
Pretty nice. Do you have any issues with the flop? Having 9 holdings and like Wild Stallion, uh, Outskirts Sentry, all that?
Yeah, there has been a couple of times when it's been kind of rough, but I also have Twilight Rider and Season of War, and the rally really helps.
Yeah.
I also find myself playing, of course, I have the two Wayfinders for that reason, and I find myself playing Ambushers more as a conflict character in this deck than pretty much any other, uh, instead of just for the reaction.
Yeah, I'm sure you also played then equip a take up command or something and go for surprise breaks.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I like I hadn't yet thought about it, but Invocation of Owls also can kind of combo with the take up command. Like you can move them all to the kid who gets restanded as long as
Yeah,
it
yeah,
hit fate.
and I think the Invocation of Ashes also help to make that one political attack hit that you do actually a threat uh, with the +2.
Could
And
you
also it's
maybe
channel.
cut a captive audience then? Or is it too important for the deck?
Say again?
Could you maybe cut one of the captive audiences?
no.
Yeah, maybe. I used to run 2, I think, but then I opted to 3 because like I have so many. The deck is still super military focused. Like Endless Plain Skirmisher has 0, and that's a huge card in this deck. Like Outskirts Sentry, Wild Stallion. There's a lot of 0 and dashes here. So the political is still the military is still important.
Yeah. I don't know about Tezzent. The slot of Invocation of Us.
Yeah, that's Tessen is probably the better choice. Invocation I went with just because it's kind of movement, and this is a movement meme.
Uh, what about the new card of Lost Paper?
I have Lost Papers in my new version of this. This is the World Cup version. I don't dare to change it, even though I did and got called out for it by my opponent. He spotted a mistake I did. But yeah, I have Lost Papers in this. I find it risky because, as I said, I'm playing a kind of mid-rangey semi-tower with Tetsuko or Kiora. I usually put like 2 Fate or more on those characters. So
Okay.
Lost Papers, I have gotten it off once in 2 games. And the other one, it was just blank. So I'm not sure what to use for rally
It
cards.
has rally though, right?
It does have rally.
You don't care even if it's a blank. Isn't Twilight Rider a blank? Maybe not in
Twilight
this
Rider,
deck though.
he's
Could be
huge in
good.
this deck.
Yes, 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 yes. It's maybe the only uni deck where it's good.
Yeah. Like him with Smuggler's Cove, you attack with Twilight Rider, then your opponent goes into Smuggler's Cove, you move in Twilight Rider, and you ready him, or another character that you attack with, like a Tetsuko or something. It can be huge.
I like this version of the deck because the Twilight Rider is very useful. And it's useful because you choose to ready a character outside the conflict. This is very
Yes,
important.
because one of the problems I found with HMT sometimes is that you don't have characters for your second or third conflict, and the Twilight Rider can, along with Takeover Command and Encampment Board Rider, can help you get those characters for your future conflict.
This guy here must be sick.
Kiora is awesome in this.
Getting someone moved in, then ready with disguise.
Yeah.
Nice.
like-
About matchups, the main problem of Unicorn, of course, is the crab. Okay.
Is it?
How is the matchup against crab? Crab Dragon.
Crab is, as with most Unicorn decks, terrible. Even worse in this, I think, because I need to fate up my characters, and the first turn is super important. And if I get Way of the Crab first turn, which is very much a thing, I'm kind of screwed. This deck needs to save up on the first turn, pretty much. Get a good body on the board next turn and load it up with attachments and stuff.
Seeing as we talked about the crab topic, is there anyone here who has any unicorn build with more than 20% win rate against a good crab?
I think this deck has maybe not against good crabs. I don't play good crabs. I only play Jigoku crabs. But I think I'm like 50-50. I haven't kept the score on this deck because it's a meme deck. I don't really find it too serious, but it has been working out, so maybe I should keep the score.
Yeah.
I also don't find that big problem with crabs. Not as big as dragon at least.
Have you played against like Mozi
Yeah,
or
with
Enego?
Partoglu we are usually 50-50, if not 60-40. But it's not that terrible. I usually misplay when I lose.
That's actually interesting that you say that. Like, I want to test your deck now.
Well, yeah, convert really helps.
Yeah, my experience with crab and unicorn. As a crab player, I have 100% win rate IRL, and as a unicorn player, I played against Enegon like 5 or 6 times to prepare him for Marcus Archer and to test some decks. And I think I won one game, and that was with Scouted Terrain.
The secret is to keep your counters for the fight on. That was my mistake last time. If you do that, you'll get it.
Anything else you want to say about Oscar's deck? His
I
sermon looks insane in this one, by the way, because you can just tap a Wild Stallion or a 2-coster, then untap it with take up command and get all the
I
value.
will I would definitely play Honest Challenger. It's a very good card on its own, and here it looks even better.
It's one of those
It's
cards where maybe we have to test first to come up with a, you know, result.
mhm.
Yeah, I think I tested Honest Challenger when the deck was new, but that was in the GPO days. So yeah, I'll have to see if I
I
actually take the deck further.
I love this guy since we can start a political with him. If they defend, you bring another guy in from their board, and then you have two unopposed military conflicts, something like that. If they don't defend, you just captive audience and break.
I remember you used to play him with Mado, right? And it
Mm.
was so annoying to attack into it
Yes.
because you just harpooned my other defenders, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
Yes, yes.
Judge!
Everyone, come here, everyone. Have fun.
It gives
Yeah.
some utility maybe that Unicorn doesn't have, but I think in general this Unicorn has a lot of taps and taps moves and plays that most HMT decks don't have.
Yeah, exactly. This deck is it is more in need of big military stats more than readies and bows because that it already has.
Yeah. Moving on, we have my deck, I guess. Yeah, which currently is 3-0 for anyone interested. Uh, of course, the originator of the deck is Yoritomo Alex. I just added in some one-offs to make it a bit more special for the World Cup, like the Censure, the Ready for Battle, and they're both insanely good. So check it out. If you have any questions or anything that you like, let me know.
Yes, okay, the deck is also built for an open, okay?
Yes, that's also pretty significant. Like we have made it with maybe some more one-offs or some decks that are made for an open list format like the World Cup or the Top Cut of a Kote.
Okay, the base idea is the classic HT base idea. Chagatai, join the friend Chagatai and attack. Now the tricky cards that I added the crown that you will not find to other. And hand to hand. I think that this is my meta against Crab and the Dragon. Uh, the matchups now that you have played on board, I think that is our easy matchup, okay, against Crane and against the Phoenix Lion.
Yes. Two Cranes and Phoenix Lion with Forbear's Echoes. In general, the Crown is amazing to kill the High House of Light Dragons, and it's one of the many adaptations Greek the Greeks have done for Demagogue,
Demagogue.
pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah. Because people forget that, okay, yeah, well, you can copy his list, but our meta is also evolving to deal with his list. So we have had 2 or 3 weeks advantage compared to the rest of the people, um, where we had more interactions with his build and could find some holes to exploit. Stay Your Hand is amazing as a 3-off. It's amazing. It's what's winning me half the games.
Yeah, because Crab is also running Defend Your Honor, right? And Phoenix is on either the Five Fires or Policy Debate.
Yeah, many are running
Everyone.
Policy Debate, and you also have Defend Your Honor in most unicorns, Defend Your Honor and Policy or Policy in cranes, and Duelist Training, of course. You have Duelist Training and Policy in Dragon, you have Policy in many Lion builds. It's in general a pretty insane card. It's almost never dead, except when I practice against Kirlis or something. But who cares about that guy? He's, let's say, special.
Or Scorpion,
that's-
I guess.
Yeah, it's also dead on Scorpion, but on Scorpion, like Scorpion is such an easy matchup with this deck that nobody, like you don't care about it. You just win anyway. Discard it if you can with spells and win. Because most Scorpions are playing Koto, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
So they don't have a cancel.
Yeah, because you probably push first turn and then you get the favor instead.
Yeah. And Censure has also been an insane card in every game. I draw it like I'm Yuji.
The Censor is one of those cards that I really want to put in every one of my decks, but I can't find the space because I want to play bad cards instead, like Logistics.
You're going the meme route.
Yes.
So, the meme is hard and full of terrors. Probably broken ass crab opening with 2 Kunilabs turn 1. Fucking
Don't
crap.
mention.
I used to be
One
a
comment
crab.
I have on this deck actually is the Moto Horde is a deck card I haven't seen in a while.
Me neither. But Alex told me it's good, so I trust him. And the main reasons, because I asked him about it, was that you can play Kiora on top of it for free. So you can do really nice combos with either Cavalry Reserves or Join the Fray into Kiora, and practically deals with the problem of what you said, like not having enough attackers to do all 3 attacks.
And
Yeah, sure.
the 4 cost of Moto Horde is very good for cavalry because K cannot bring into play Chagatai or regulars, and this deck runs only Moto Youth, so Moto Horde can bring into the game Border Rider, Gunshaw.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
I
only
feel the
has
same
Moto
problem
Youth
in
as
my
a
case.
1-coster.
Since nowadays there's only one good one drop, I usually just call it as Sagatai or regulars. But I think it's still better than Horde and the 2-drop.
Yeah, it's kind of like, there to give an option. It's not something you could ever buy. You might play it with Join the Fray, but it's not even good, like really good there.
No, okay, it's a 6 military stat, okay.
It's something that your opponent has to deal with.
Yes.
Yes, and if you have the Kira as well, it is a straight attack again.
I guess the dash in political also helps against policy debate.
Yeah, but Polish debate in general is not that big of a deal since we have 3 Stay Your Hand in the deck.
Yeah. About
Except,
that, wouldn't 2 Stay Your Hands and 2 Censors be more optimal? What do you think?
currently we're going for 3 Stay Your Hand, 2 Censor. on the
Two
updated list.
sensors, yes, the next list.
Take-up command has been lackluster, mainly because Tessen is better. We are changing that too. And we are
I find that
considering...
very offensive. I find it very offensive comparing to my deck.
No, come on, you play the Moto Holding, which ups its value tremendously. It's not the same deck.
What about Never Yield? I haven't had the time to test. Is it good?
In my opinion, we will cut it. It's not good enough. It has some uses, but when you play that many stay your hand and most of the bows are duelist training and all that, then Never Yield becomes kind of lackluster. Also, it doesn't protect the things from cavalry reserves
And join the fray.
and join the fray, yeah. So,
Ah,
yeah, it's
alright.
not that good.
It's protect only the personality that attacks.
Yeah, that
Not
makes it worse.
and not the one that will be bring.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'd rather run maybe another Ready for Battle instead.
Or Captive Audience?
No, Captive Audience has been good at too, honestly. I like I like it for as an option, but I don't want dead cards in my hand. And yeah, it's weird saying that when I want to play Ready for Battle, but Ready for Battle is an out to them going for water against your Chagatai or something like that,
Mhm.
or like blindly attacking into Rebels, all that sort of bullshit. So you can deal with that.
Yeah,
But as far
Also,
as I know, you know.
I think now with lost papers ready for battle will be very bad.
Oh yeah, that's true.
yep, makes
What do you
sense.
think it will be bad? It's better.
Yeah, Ready for Battle will be even more important with Lost
Yes.
Paper.
Yeah, I guess now will be very valuable.
Ah, valuable. Sorry, I heard bad. Sorry.
Valuable. Yeah.
Totally my fault. Ah, and also I have to give a shout out to Unleash the Djinn,
Of
uh,
course.
which is, it's amazing. It's broken. Come on. You know it,
Yeah,
I know it, everyone knows it.
that
I
card
love
got
it.
me the first title
Sorry?
record. Unleashed the Zin was the card that earned me the first Sakamoto last year.
Ah,
I was playing it with
were
what was
you...
fourth of the river.
Yes, you were playing Crabs Plus back then too?
No, line.
Hmm.
Strength in numbers.
Now, okay. I think, do you have anything else to add to my no fun allowed, zero junk, tryhard attempt of a deck?
There's no
Um,
fine katanas.
Yes,
and what about
no
Twilight
space.
Rider?
What about?
Twilight Rider, you don't have enough.
Just for all.
We play two, we don't play three. They are there just to fuel second turn cavalry reserves and to thin out the deck a bit, but we didn't want three just in case of a brick, because you never want to buy this card. It has no other use except rally.
Did
I find it
you
offensive as well. Super offensive.
do you
Twilight
have a
Rider is the best
problem
card.
with Shinzo Gunso not finding a 2-drop?
Never. Like, very rarely, but it can also find keepers.
Yeah,
So sometimes it just gets you a keeper, which is, yeah, like
yeah.
disappointing. But it's not horrible since you have the keeper on the drop for the next turn. Keepers have actually been like super important, and sometimes I season myself to refresh the flop.
One of the reasons I don't want too many rallies is also I almost lost the from milling, from being milled out one time. It sucks. And I really like, for example, finding a unique 2-drop and then putting a fate on it, like Remake and Yosomura. I would probably play 3 remakes. It seems very good.
Yeah, like some of the utility maybe of remake against cards like Duelist Training is reduced by Stay Your Hand, and also I run 2 hand to hands, so I
Mhm.
couldn't also fit in remakes. Maybe I should, I don't know.
It's,
But
it's
I think
better on, I guess it's better on my deck, where I don't have hand to hands and stay your hands.
it's not about being better, it's about, well, I knew for the World Cup people would copy Demagog's list, and every crab is playing Defend Your Honor, and every crane is playing Polish Debate, so just put 3 Stay Your Hand in, pray to the gods, and cast Cavalry Reserves is my
Oh,
approach.
if it works, it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea.
I'm 3-0 so far, so something
Yep,
seems to be working. It could
exactly.
be just my RNG, but you know.
The, the other maybe change future list is the appealing of fortune. Uh,
No, I like it. Well, my my thought and something I was experimenting with, although I can't do it now that I've said it on a podcast, is running Endless Plains as a stronghold province.
Uh, why?
Because it's an open list, so the opponent sees 5 on break effects
Ah,
and would never think I'm retarded enough to run it on the stronghold. So until he finds it, he only goes poke attacks, which is super big brain.
and he will never find the water province until the last one, until all 4 will be open.
Yeah, because I can
okay.
also talisman. Like I can not use the endless planes and just talisman away. So it won't matter much when he reaches the stronghold, but it will matter on the rounds before he attacks the stronghold. You get? Which was like in a theory for the World Cup we came up with. I didn't test it yet, but it would be 10,000 IQ play. Moving on to our third list, which is Balaviaris list. You love your crab splash. We all know that.
Funny thing is, I started Crab Splash for Rebuild, and now I don't even play it.
Yeah,
There's not,
but you
there's not
did
enough
get
people.
the insane card that is our foe does not wait.
Yeah, I had the one in spare, so I thought to give it a try. Um, I put in Imperial Palace just to have something from the restricted list, but it's not that today. Although it's a fun holding to threats with outposts that do not wait to get a paper for the census. Well, it's pretty straightforward, very aggressive deck. Try to win by turn 2. I can also go white, I can also go tall. Common course is insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I usually play defensively whenever I can, uh,
Defensively.
because I want to bait my opponents to use their buffs and their cards on their attack. It makes breaking much easier. Usually I can go The best cavalry reserve I've found out are on defense. So then you straighten everything up and break unopposed 2 to 3 provinces.
I like the concept of double coverts and triple coverts with things like Common Cause and Skirmisher or
Yeah, I once
Yasamura.
get around with a skirmisher attacking 3 times the same skirmisher, converting 3 times. Best one fate ever spent. Yeah, it's a very good card, and as you can see, my deck doesn't have any answers except the censor. I'm putting all the pressure to my opponent to find the correct answers for my deck. If he has drawn everything perfectly, too bad. But that rarely happens, and usually I have almost never any dead cards in hand. And
It's
that's it.
practically the complete opposite, right? Your build
Yeah,
and my
yeah.
build.
Yeah,
It's
it's pretty
not
cool that you can do so differently.
it's not reactive at all.
Yeah.
I'm just putting the pressure on my opponent.
We are just trying
Uh,
to find like the hidden spot in the meta and the cards that are like maybe when you're lower on the tier list as a deck you try to uh, win by tricks, but you are just
mhm.
brute forcing through and saying, okay,
I have a couple of tricks as well in the Onyx Balancer and the Waystation Trader, which is awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, the Waystation Trader looks really good here because you have a lot of expensive events, cavalry reserves, join the
Yeah,
fray, alpha
yes.
for duty. I
The
really like
conflict,
the trader here.
the conflict is paid heavy, but when you have 2 traders, when Gunso brings you finally one and then you play another, so the limited keyboard is, doesn't do anything.
stealing the
Yeah,
fate must hurt. Like,
well, they usually don't let you steal fate, so you see them getting tapped out on useless stuff. So it's again a win-win for you because you know that they won't have any fate
or you
to
just
spend.
say
Or you
yurt,
just
you get
sacrifice your,
two
yeah.
fate.
Done that, yeah.
Here, have some money. Now I take it.
Exactly.
The plus
Yeah.
4 fate play. Big brain.
This deck, the Seed of the Rich Frog, enables crazy one-turn plays. I'm getting sick of my opponent calling me how lucky I am, and stuff like that, and dropping, conceding the game before we even start. But when you think about it and you mulligan the correct cards, you have like a 10% to find what you want in your dynasty alone on the first turn. It's a good address, good chance.
That's actually a very interesting topic because HMT players, we have not yet thought about City of Rich Frog and maybe even those who serve enough. Because when you think about it, like, okay, can't you just cut Moto Youth of my list, put Waystation Trader and City of Rich Frog or something to
There is an
go?
American playing just 2 drops and those who serve, Zero the Rich Frog. I think
Uh,
he's one of the better American players right now. Hunt Seeker, I think his name is.
Wait, you're talking about fan favorite? Or are you not talking about the World Cup?
Not the World Cup. Yeah, it might be American list in the World Cup as well. I'm not sure about it, but I think that's the best American list currently. The 2 drop, those who serve.
The problem with that is you won't have the city of the Rich Frog freestanding after turn one, and you have to mulligan hard for those who serve to get decent value out of it on the first turn. So
Yeah,
it's kind
Yeah,
of,
and also if For Greater Glory gets cancelled, you're done.
yeah. It's like the build of Archer. we played against England today, and he's running that build with two for greater glories and those who serve. But I think his build is very suboptimal in many ways. If you can optimize it, then maybe we can have a deck in our hands.
Yeah, but that's no shit on Archer.
No,
He's
yeah,
a
of
weird
course.
deck builder, but he's a pretty good player. So his only downfall is his weird decks.
No, I get the like building your deck around some concepts. He obviously has results, so I can't say anything about his playing skills.
Thank you.
But for me, at least, playing Way of the Unicorn and playing two different Your Honors in a white deck, and like it's questionable.
Hey, that got me top 5 in Birmingham. Don't hate on that deck.
Defend Your Honors?
I played Defend Your Honor for Greater Glory when Charge was in the meta. I played for Greater Glory instead.
You are weird,
But
man. You're
yeah,
weird.
Nice card. Although usually it's win more.
yes, and it got me more wins. So win-win. Yes, big brain.
If it got you the wins, I honestly can't say anything. I was playing crab back then, so I was enjoying the almost top
Spyglass.
tier life. No, Birmingham? Birmingham was top tier crab. Best time ever. Woo. By the way, Balaviaris, have you checked the new card you can splash in from crab, where if they don't contest a conflict, you
Yeah,
can duel
both
one of the provinces?
you blank a province. 3 influence hurts a lot.
Yeah, but like I think maybe you can fit it in if you run a Tessen instead of one of the common causes or something. Cause like I know it hurts, but that thing, imagine nullifying the province of Phoenix.
Sampu
I,
Poseidon.
I already do that with Border Fortress. I'm fine with it.
No, you have Border Fortress for the. True,
Of
true,
course,
true.
yes. You always reveal the stronghold.
Can you also you can also get Seppuku Seido or Kurai Mori for Phoenix.
I have Ambusher for the rest, so I guess I will test it, but we'll see how it goes.
And
Yeah, the 3 influence really hurts.
yeah, I
Card.
get that. I hadn't
I
considered that
got,
actually, but it's also insane versus the Stronghold of Dragon.
yes, that one is the problem. I know.
That one is fucked up, honestly. No play
I
around.
usually convert a big monk, but they have the guy that can't be converted. It's a
They
problem.
have Mitsu, yes. I just pray to the gods, then play 15 kids in the conflict,
But
go 2 crones, Tetsuko, unleash the Jin. He plays Defend Your Honor, stay your hand, you can't play another card. Easy.
Hmm.
That's the only way I can win. Because the fucking stronghold is too strong. Too damn strong.
mhm.
And even if you somehow like strength in numbers him or something, he has Hawk Tattoo, he has
Like,
answers.
Yeah. So yeah, I will give
Okay,
it a try.
Return from Shadows can have lot because even if you have it first and you open the Dragon's province, you can
Alex?
easily go to the fourth province to win there and
You're talking about on purpose hitting the 4th province instead of the stronghold, right? To farm the ring.
yes.
Yeah.
To
That's
trigger
common, but
the crab.
Oh, we will try it. We will see the meta.
If
one
we...
thing about your deck, Balaviaris, is you're not running any rally.
The,
I think I know the reason why, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, I wanted to maximize my chances with Kunso. Uh, I don't, I already want to put more stuff in my deck. So having a Twilight Rider, for example, I don't even know what to cut. I like everything in there. But I can't pass on the lost papers. I'm definitely gonna put 3 in there, and we'll see who goes away.
Honestly, for me, Season of War is once you go Season of War, you can't go back.
I tried it, but I wasn't that thrilled. I don't know. I mean, I can find the Kunso easier with the city. So I'm gonna get my graveyard filled anyway.
Yeah,
Anyway, the reserves are a late card. I have zone the praise for the first 2 turns.
we also have the final deck, the the one that's probably the weirdest, I'd say, maybe. At least if you have seen it play, you might agree with me, which is the Emperor HMT. With
Oh,
display
wow.
of power, appeal to sympathy. For our viewers here, you should know that Yoritomo Alex, because he tests every card a Unicorn can run,
Yes.
he's kind of also known as the Junk Master. But sometimes, from all that testing, a junk deck somehow is solid enough to be good. And that's the case with this deck.
Okay, except breakthrough that I have tested the 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, okay, you have to accept some cards are just bad.
The idea of the Phoenix Plus to the other deck of Scorpion Plus is that you go past first round without to buy anything. This is why. The key card is no terrain. Okay. So you can bring the other to appealing, or to bring the tower to endless, or upholding authority to discard the opponent's cancels or display of powers, etc. You play 9 characters from conflict, so you can go for a poke attack, or even go for a attack with join the fray and Moto Chagatai. This idea still works. 3 censors here because of display of power. And appeal to sympathy. Okay, this idea is kind of because I tested and the main problem was the first round cancel. Voice of Honor, Forgetic. And I see that if on the first round I can run, join Moto Chagatai, win the game. So this is what the sympathy does. You cancel on the first round the cancel of other players. Even the assassination that also be a problem because you will not have the guys to do the strong. Okay, the list is solid enough, but still has problem about the very good deck.
Are you
Like,
talking
I don't
about
know.
Crab and Dragon?
Yes.
We gotta say things with their names, man.
Not everyone knows that the good decks are Crab and Dragon. There are Americans listening to this.
Oh, true. Like, it's okay. They are losing to Scotland, which we 7-0'd. Um, oops. I had also called Brazil USA being close on my last podcast, which was right before Brazil did the 3 games comeback and made it 3-3.
Yeah, that was amazing. I streamed those games. Great.
I had called the comeback
It was all
because,
thanks to you.
yeah, of course. Honestly, I think Brazil's team is really strong, and USA's team, it's good. It's good. It can maybe take us on as well. We will have to find out. I don't want to say too much and have to eat my own words, so I think I already did. It's okay. But this build, let's start with the most basic. What the fuck is going on? Why are you running Hante? Do you save up
Okay.
so much fate on the first turn that you hard cast Hante?
Yes. Okay. If you go for a full pass first turn, you have 8 fate. If you go just for one attack with one wayfinder, a goblin, with a banzai, or even a Jolly Freight, just to break one province. On the second round, you maybe start with 12 or 13 fate.
Yes, but will you have the favor then?
Oh, sorry.
Will you have the favor if you
The
don't
favor,
range
okay,
it?
it's just only for display of power.
The display. Okay.
Okay. And the only reason that this list runs Hante is display of power. No.
Honestly,
For
we had a discussion with Alex about.
also sorry.
Yes, yes.
Appealing to the force is like it with Hante.
Oh, turn one
And so
Hante growl.
gives you the favor for next turn when you will open again Hante. And
Oh
drinking with
god, just
players.
imagine that, like, you attack, you say Hanteo, it's okay, you attack, and then you get know the terrain into appealing, he summons the Hantei, plays a Goblin Sneak, attacks with the Goblin Sneak, taps your defender, banzais the Goblin Sneak and breaks you. And you're like, what the fuck just happened? Did I lose a favor? Did I lose a province? Why does he has 6 fate? Okay, that will be
Yes, and
awesome,
you
that
have
will be awesome.
six glory for the favor next turn.
Yeah, okay. Like, it looks like one of the builds where, because we had a talk with Alex about maybe me trying this deck for the World Cup. And then my main issue with the deck is, what if we are talking about open list? So, at that point, the opponent will not attack, and he will keep the favor. He will not run into display and then turn to with a favor. Maybe he will activate his sensors first. So there's like those kinds of problems with playing something like that on an open list. But that's only assuming that your opponent has the time to playtest and theorycraft against it. It's not like someone will play against this on the top 8 of the Cote and adjust his whole game plan. Honestly,
Uh,
I have played against this, and it's scary, man. It's fucking scary. Nobody wants to play against Hante.
So Tori
I
did
think
well against Hante.
I think I have win Balaviaris in one friendly match with
Yes, I remember.
because of
He
his
stole the
cavalry
common,
reserves.
none of the awesome play with common cause. You changed the target and it was working because common cause honors the opponent's character. So the game state
Yes.
just changed.
That interaction is actually so fucking bad for Crab. It's insane. Like, come on. Who cares about the support thing? And
Yeah, I don't wanna ready my character, I just wanna honor him.
yeah, it's amazing. Anything else? Like, you probably find a billion shit weird about the deck, so just ask non-stop.
my favorite is the other one, Scorpion Class and Fate Worse Than Death.
Yeah, you also have that one. Does it have a similar playstyle?
This is have a similar playstyle, yes, with White Pass in first turn. And in this list, it is better than Phoenix Plus because even the other not come for attack. You can go aggressive. You can just play one Wayfinder or a Scavenger, and you can go for attack. If it has one tower or something big, he will eat Fate Worse Than Death.
Would
So
you run an
it's more aggressive.
assassination in this deck?
I have tried assassination, but I'm very scared with that. With Unleash the Gene, will be a problem.
Yeah.
Because 6 honor minus is a problem, just from 2 cards. But I have tried assassination and it is very good.
I see a difference in the Fate Worse Than Death versus the Phoenix. You're playing Slovelin Scavenger instead of Goblin Sneak. What's the idea with the Scavenger?
Yes, about the meta. You suck Avengers. Even reshuffle your deck with your Fate game, send to join the fray. The about Phoenix that I have problems with Adaka. It's a tool. It's more a tool than Goblin.
Fair enough.
Your Scorpion list doesn't have the Hante, right? No
Yes,
display
okay.
of power to steal it.
Yes, this is difficult. The Province Row is very scary. Okay? Appealing, endless, feast, upholding. Okay, come for a one attack. And non-terrain, it's not also aggressive. Okay, come here, tower to endless plane, but you can save your endless plane.
Yeah, I've used Know the Terrain with that as well. Moving around your endless planes when your opponent attacks with 2 characters to defend it.
On this list, on Scorpion 1, I believe that will be stronger with Lost Papers.
Yes, oh yes.
Because you never buy something. You go for Cavalry's Zenith and join from personalities from your hand, and show Lost Papers revealed and do their jobs.
I
Makes
think
sense.
almost every uni list, maybe except the one Oscar posted, will be hugely buffed with Lost Papers. Like, we might
It's
even see Unicorn becoming a very high tier deck, I think.
That's very
Although
optimistic.
What
my
about
only issue
card for
is
Unicorn.
that they get like Lion and Crab get completely broken cards, but Lost Papers on Unicorn is fucking scary, and it's 0 fate.
does it make Way of the Open Hand any better?
It makes it even better, yes, and it was
Yes.
already really good.
So have you tested it a lot, this card? What's your opinion?
Okay, so if you're playing an aggressive deck and you play Way of the Open Hand on something that your opponent buys with like 2 fate on the first turn, most of the time, by the time turn 3 is over, the game is over. So you putting an extra fate, and instead of it having 2 fate, it now has 3 fate, is really good.
Yes, it makes
You don't
sense.
care
So
about it.
you
But
don't bother with it anyway. But
yeah,
it doesn't. You can't use it on stronghold conflicts.
yeah.
That
But if you combo it with, like, if you have Unlisted Gene for the Stronghold province, then you can spend the Way of the Open Hand for the ones before it, and then all in Stronghold, Unlisted Gene, and break like that. So that's the concept.
Or you play a bad roll like Seeker and you play Chasing the Sun. So you attack the 4th province instead, wave the open hand, and then chase into the stronghold.
I used to do that a lot when I was testing Scouted Terrain, actually.
Yeah.
Because you just played 3 Way of the Open Hand, and you attack, Way of the Open Hand, Way of the Open Hand, chasing the Sun, Scouted Terrain, woo! And then it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad deck, but it was not as good as the HMT one. The best part about the Way of the Open Hand is that if it gets cancelled, you don't put the Fate. So it's like a safer strength in numbers many times, because strength in numbers will get cancelled if he can cancel
Yeah.
it.
And it
So
costs 1 fate.
yeah, and it costs a Fate, but the other one doesn't put the Fate on. It's not a part of the cost, so you can bait cancels with it.
Another good play is defensive, and send home one attacker that just come to poke and get a water ring or something else, and you send him home.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And it's also really, really good against Dragon, because they don't have conflict characters. So let's say, you know, it's the final attack of their turn, they attack, and they hit something that bothers you, like maybe appealing to the fortunes, and you don't get any benefit out of that. So if you wave the open hand them, then he has to spend a Hawk Tattoo to get in. And if he does that, then your strength in numbers on his stronghold will hurt him a lot, probably. So it's just a lot of utility that it offers.
I might give it a try and convert the guy that I sent home, something like that.
I think you will like it. Like, it's a really, really good card.
I like the art as well.
Yes,
Nice,
yes,
it's a nice pretty card.
if you have an aggro deck, you don't care about fate. You just go away to break
I
and
didn't have a
finish the
problem
game.
with that. I had a problem with the non-stronghold clause. The fate I never played any attention to it.
Yeah. I get that, but you know, maybe it can help you save one of the skirmishes for the stronghold instead of playing it previously or something. That's
Well,
the concept.
in my deck, I have to play them early because I get them ready all the time. But I get your point.
Yeah, true. It's like the playstyles vary so much from decklist to decklist that it's hard to actually make a call.
The good with the unicorn decks is that all the decks are okay, are very good, are tier 1 with different ideas, with different tools. And I think that we have more variance than the other clan.
Wait, bro,
Okay.
wait. I agree with the variants, but are you saying that every unicorn build is tier 1?
Every, okay. That have a base, like full aggro and straighten, or join the frame cavalry reserves, unless the gin, and you can select another splash and have the same results.
Okay.
And this is based to your playstyle. This is very good for the player.
Yeah, that's actually nice that it gives you
For
options. It's not like Crab playing Let Go or something like that.
yes. For example, you play the Lion's Plus and I play the Scorpion's Plus with a different idea, but the base is the same. Okay, go for Chagatai, join Cavalry Reserves. And then you have the splash for different tricks and different tools.
And then you have the 3 Let Go, 3 Mirumoto's Furies plus of the gods.
Okay,
Totally
Mirumoto's
boring.
Furies. Mirumoto's Furies with I don't know, now with the Lost Papers and 2 minutes bow, maybe
The
it's
other guy just
better.
won't attack. Never. He sees Mirumoto's Fury in an open deck list. He says, fuck it, I'm out.
Okay, Doug. Okay, on an open list, maybe it's not worth.
So, to sum up, where do you think Unicorn is on the tier list right now? And by that I don't mean like tier 1. I want you to tell me, out of the 7 clans, which number is it, in your opinions? So, let's start with Oscar.
I think that we are, based on the other clans matchup, I think we are just below Crane, which is at the bottom.
What?
Yes.
It's not that bad.
This is my opinion. You can have another opinion. This is my opinion. One time in the spotlight, okay?
Yeah,
Time
no,
to tell
I
you.
have to accept it. I mean, it's an opinion, and I asked for it. I set myself up.
I could say that I could see we being above Crane, but my experience looking at and playing Crane against the other clans, I feel like they have an easier time. They have access to the kills against the dragon. They have access to easy cancels. They have strong bodies on both military and political. They don't have to lean into one conflict type. They don't have to rely on big events like Join the Fray and Cavalry Reserves. So I think that they might have a lower ceiling than the Unicorn decks, but they're more stable.
Yeah,
So
I can say that. I can see that approach. Are you are talking about current Unicorn? Do you think that will change with the release of Pack 3?
No, not at all. Lost Papers, from the few games I played and watched, it's about as good in every other deck as it is in Unicorn.
Okay,
That is my hot take on that.
That's
You've got
pretty
a
hot
hot
take.
Yeah, it's pretty controversial, but I think that's actually the case, unfortunately. Being a bit of a downer here, but that's what I've seen so far.
Balaviaris, what's your opinion?
I think we're in a very good place. We've gotten lots of good cards. The restricted and banned lists haven't affected us at all. I'm in a point where I don't even need a restricted card to play my deck, and I like it. The Lost Papers, I think it's awesome, at least for me, because I get lots of credits, and it's gonna work almost every time, for me, at least. I tend to reset my board every turn. Almost never spend pain on my characters only when cubing. So yeah, I'm pretty positive.
From 1 to 7, which number are we? That's the hot take I want.
I don't have all the data, but I guess since I could say number 3. What we lack mostly is good players representing us, cafes, stuff like that in big organizations. I guess
Interesting take.
they will have the more loyal, good unicorn players.
Ouch.
We could. I'm not saying anything.
I totally agree, and
I mean, most of the pro players almost always go for control decks. They think aggro decks are like stupid and you don't need to think about it, stuff like that. Well, that's wrong. There's depth in these decks as well. They just win faster. That's the only
As
difference.
someone who always loves playing control, and until very recently thought that the aggro HMT version are the L5R equivalent of chasing someone with a baseball bat.
Very mono red.
After playing it a bit, the decision-making part is actually huge, and the difference in win ratio between a good, a very good, and a mediocre player is really big. So I don't disagree with that hot take. Uh,
The thing is,
like
you are
probably
always
Oscar, Action Johnny, and
Christian.
Archer are the best representatives of the Unicorn clan.
I'd put Christian over Archer, but that's because he's Swedish.
Yeah, like
He's a really good player.
wait, does he have results like independently of the? Like
He
I
has
also
beaten
put
me
Alex
once.
as a very good unicorn, but nobody knows who he is. So
I
he's
have
not on the
never
map.
won against Christian, so I have that supporting him.
Why isn't
I think
he in the Swedish team?
Yes, he is.
Oh, but
He
he's
is
playing
playing
Dragon.
Dragon. Yeah, because he hates Unicorn right now.
Ah, okay. Pass. Okay, okay. That's a plot twist. I couldn't read that. But but yeah, I think like there are no, should I say, I don't know, maybe it's arrogant, but like there are no Moses, no demagogues representing the Unicorn clan. At least not that I have seen. Maybe it's the Unicorn being weak and I just don't see it yet.
they
Uh,
don't believe in them.
Alex, what's your number? What's the verdict?
Okay, let me tell my opinion and add three comments. I think that we are the third, and with this I mean below Crab and Dragon, and half a step from the other clans above, from Scorpion, from Lion, until the third part. And Phoenix, and of course Crane. The problem with the Unicorn clan is that, of course, we don't have very good players because when the L5R starts, Unicorn was the worst clan.
By a mile. Yeah.
Yes, this is that the people don't interesting to play with Unicorn. And now, you know, L5R is in the flavor game, a loyal game. Some guys take one or two clans. It is difficult to come to Unicorn and say, okay, this is my clan now, I will test it until I die and play with it. Other thing about Unicorn is that I believe that it is very balanced. The cards that, for example, Way of the Open Hand is a very good send home card and have the restriction of the non-stronghold. Okay, it has a broken. It cannot something like Mitsu or Kisada. Okay, or the new tactician of Lion.
So
Master
you're saying
Tactician.
like it doesn't have the auto win, auto include, auto play.
Yes.
Like Cavalry Reserve.
Yeah, like that's what came to mind actually. Cavalry reserves is like the definition.
Cavalry reserves, it still 3 fate that it can be cancelled. You will difficult play around this, okay? You will give you some games, but okay, if you the others have a forged, okay, goodbye.
Yeah.
I think that the cards that have the Unicorn have is balanced, and this is how the whole game has to be with this kind of cards, with some restrictions. Okay, unless the Jinn, okay, a perfect card, but 3 honor loss. I believe that if unless the Jinn goes a crab card, you will not do the same ability without the honor loss.
No, you will have to sacrifice Gallant Quartermaster.
Okay, yes, or something like this.
As a crab player, by the way, I have to point something out, which is we were so like we had 3 good cards in the core set, like literally 3. Iron Mine, Fight On. That's the 5 cards that made the old deck what it is. And then they just don't stop printing broken shit.
Yeah, for example, Twilight Rider, Rally, Unicorn Personality, and Butcher.
Just give me back my spyglass. I don't want the Butcher. I want to hug my spyglass. Just me. Every other crab thinks I'm crazy, but it's okay.
The worst scenario is that we have a banned list cards.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry for that, unicorns. I am a crab with a horn currently, so.
For a new player or for a player that wants to play something else, Dragon, Michu, or Crab is more fun than trying to find a good version of HMT. Okay, whatever. Michu, 3 Fate Pass.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that. I think, like, especially the new crab, it's one of the decks. It reminds me of old Scorpion, actually, where a really mediocre or bad player can beat a really good player, because I open 2 Gallant Quartermasters, Way of the Crab, Assassination, Kaiju Envoy, 2 Kuni Labs, a Keeper, Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, come on. Come on. Like, the Dynasty flop of Crab is 80% of the games. What it flops. And if it flops good, a bad player can beat you. No matter what you play, no matter how good you are. And it's annoying, kind of.
It's a very good stronghold. This ability is also.
Yeah. So, time for my ranking. I'm assuming every clan is played by the best individual in existence for that clan. And number 1 is Crab. Number 2 is not clear to me that it's Dragon. Dragon is starting to fall off, but I think maybe it's probably still number 2. Number 3 is Unicorn. Number 4 is Lion. Number 5 is Phoenix. Number 6 is Scorpion. Number 7 is Crane.
So we mostly agree.
So the 3 Greeks all agree on Unicorn being number 3. And Oscar, you are getting bullied. Sorry for that.
I can take it. I'm a unicorn. I'm a special little snowflake.
You've been bullied since the core set, man.
I have. I played unicorn since day 1. I have
Funny
been
story.
through the pain.
You can't pay enough to do that.
Yes, me too, and it goes off.
In our local store, I was teaching most of them in 5R since we got out by playing Scorpion. After watching the despair in their eyes,
That is evil.
I challenged myself to play the worst clan at that time. So that's how I started playing with Unicorn, and I never regretted it.
So you chose Unicorn because it was trash. You're a
Yes,
masochist.
because they were taunted me that I was winning only because I was playing the best deck.
Well,
The Scorpions.
we had a Scorpion Denier here in Athens, and he was a really good player, Rudo, for those who know. He got second on the Grand Cote of Poland, and no matter what you would say, like you'd say Scorpion are tier 1 right now. And that was back when they had everything, like Rumor Monger, Fate Worse Than Death, Cash, all the Koto, Force the Edict, everything. And you'd be like, yeah, but Crane have Guest of Honor, I can't play events, that's fucking broken, fuck them, they are tier 0. And every time I'm reminded of that guy when I hear deniers. Like, can anyone deny Crab is fucking broken right now? Anyone in the world? If you
I
do
don't know.
find him, send me his address. I promise it will be okay. Uh, Anything you want to add before we finish this episode?
Oscar, why you choose Unicorn? Was it just random or?
I'm a fluff guy. I love story. And I read through the intros for every clan, and well, it just kind of clicked with me. The movement thing was the thing that got me. Like, oh, I can make these tricky plays with whether I attack or not. Do I attack? I don't attack. I move home or do I don't. But it turned out that they were terrible. But I kind of stuck with it because that's what I do. It's the same in every game I play. In World of Tanks, I only play Russian tanks. In
Oh,
Smash, I
dude,
only
why
play
are you
one
doing that to
character.
yourself?
So yeah, I like to stick to one thing that I do.
A man with principle.
Yeah,
I am
one could say
a
that.
filthy undercover crab, so I can't say much. I started from the RPG, although I had a card gaming background. So I always played crab in the RPG. I love the clan. I have read all the fluff. And because we have Enegon in my team, and he's arguably better, I have to play Dragon the last year and Unicorn this year just to make the numbers, since Alex couldn't play for some reason. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, man. So I get the privilege, actually, because it's a privilege of being coached by good players and seeing more playstyles improving as a player all around.
I
So
have I have a new friend, a unicorn friend, one from the three, the world Greece to talk.
yeah, we can like actually theorygraph together now. It's an
Yeah,
improvement. I was
I'm
trying
still
to
I
play
don't
here.
know.
Siege of Zero.
I don't know what is the theory crafting between two unicorns. I don't know this feeling.
Uh, so I think, guys, that's pretty much it for the Unicorn special. Hope you saw some interesting builds. Had a different insight, maybe into how the HMT deck can work. Until next time, watch the World Cup streams. Release Fighting Mantis sometime. I have to mention that
Oh
since
yeah.
Yoritomo
Oh
Alex is
yeah.
in the call
Oh yeah.
and he is the big fluff guy of Mantis. And see you boys around.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye
You
bye.
do.